Hi everyone, welcome to my show, From Stuck to Unstoppable, how divorce can be the catalyst for the most extraordinary chapter in your life. Learn how 21 mindset experts can help you shift, thrive, and create the life of your dreams. Now, this is not limited only to women who are experiencing divorce or separation. This is for any woman who is finding themselves in a transition in their life, whether it be an empty nesting or career shift or navigating parts of their career that they hadn't anticipated, relationships. Gosh, there's a myriad of things that one could be in transition with. It could simply be that you've woken up one morning and realized that this is not exactly the life that you had in mind. That's very real, and I feel like that's happening a lot these days. So this show and summit is for you. I have curated a handful of wonderful mindset specialists, casting a wide net of expertise from health, wealth, marriage, divorce, relationships, financial, grief, all sorts of things that will help you navigate your way into living the best version of yourself in your life. So stay tuned as we trickle out 21 experts over the next 21 days to help inspire and empower and help you realize that everything you need is exactly inside of you where it's always been. So join me on this little adventure, and I look forward to seeing you. Thanks so much. Welcome back to my show, From Stuck to Unstoppable. I'm your host, Christina Price, and today I have the privilege of speaking with Susan Carabello, spiritual teacher. She's the author of Beauty Behind the Veil. She transformed from self-sabotage to powerhouse manifester, and now she teaches women about self-love and living intentionally. She does one-on-one coaching. She has a corporate wellness program to help cultivate great culture. And she has also this really cool upcoming Costa Rica retreat in November, a 5-day retreat. So I'm going to turn the floor over to her and let her introduce herself and let her tell us all about her journey on how she is where she is and how she became this amazing spiritual teacher. Take it away.
Thanks for having me so much. My name is Susan Carabello. I am a spiritual teacher. And right now I guide women who feel stuck and overwhelmed and disconnected from their inner wisdom. I use meditation as the vehicle to reconnect to their inner wisdom, to their true self, so they can live life with intention, with purpose, with love, with clarity, and most of all, with confidence. My journey started back in 2017. So it's been about 8 years, and there have been some ups and downs along the way. We have to just chalk it up to the lessons that we were sent here to learn. And that's what I did. And now it's my, not obligation, but my gift that I get to share with the world was my own journey so that I can help other women and men as well who are stuck and who feel that disconnectedness from themselves. And when I say disconnectedness, what happens is we have our true self, which is our inner self. It's our heart, it's our soul. And we have our false ID or our false self, which is our ego or this identification that we walk around with, a badge, as I say. And that's what we show the world. But getting back to our true self and who we truly are at a deep core level is the connection that we're all seeking. It's my pleasure to really be able to guide women, men, and whoever needs that assistance to guide them back through meditation into that space of centeredness, that space of clarity, so they can live with purpose, with love, with confidence, and not in just their job, but in the relationships and everything.
Right, because obviously it rolls over into all the aspects of your life. But
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about how, without obviously divulging all the things, because I know the first time we spoke, we totally ran out of time.
Yes.
But you have a really compelling and interesting journey that I feel like will resonate with a lot of women, especially in the realm of self-sabotage. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So even to this day, today is May 11th, 2025. When I say self-sabotage, I had this little voice inside of me that was constantly, and it's still ever present, but at least I'm aware of it now. That was always just, I would say red and it would say blue. I would
Mhm.
say chocolate ice cream, it would say vanilla ice cream. It was this constant battle within myself where I could never feel confident in
Mm.
truly just relaxing into the present moment because it was always just going. That's the only
Mm.
way to describe it. It was
Just on
whenever I would
repeat,
feel
just
like,
playing,
okay,
playing, playing.
it was
Yeah.
on repeat, and I would step into new situations, new friendships, new relationships, going to new places, and it would be getting to the door and the voice would be like, yeah, your makeup looks like garbage, go back
Mhm.
and go fix. And then you'd go into the mirror and be like, oh my god. And it was constant, but I never noticed it. That was the thing. It was like, it was just a part of who I was.
Right.
I'd go back, I'd fix it, and then I'd go on my way, and would just never feel very settled. And I think that's what's been the biggest lesson in my journey, is that I finally recognize that I have this little voice that just challenges me, like in everything that I do. But I can see it now and I can
Mhm.
observe it now. And now I get to decide, am I
Mhm.
going to listen to this voice, which is really what we call a protector, right? It wants to protect us from getting hurt or from
Mhm.
being judged or from feeling awkward in a new
Mhm.
environment. It would rather tell you that your shoes don't match versus just going in and being yourself. And if the shoes don't match, who cares? So I listen to that voice a lot more
Mhm.
often than trusting the voice in here. And
Right.
it's not just situational, it's really that voice gets developed based on experiences, society, and the self-talk, which was probably the biggest
Hmm.
component of my ego, was my own negative self-talk, which was driving the bus of everything. So I did what I needed to do and really took harness of it and took charge of it because I had to, because I realized that this is not serving me. And if I want to be able to serve in any capacity through work or serve my family or anything, even just help myself to become the best version of me, like I needed to get a grip on that little voice and be like, you
Mhm.
know what? We're okay. I'm okay.
I've
If
got you.
even
I've got you.
I got you. We're
Yeah.
good. Like you can be there, but you don't need to be. I needed it more to be an ally
Mhm.
versus an opponent. And I read a great article today, actually this morning when I woke up. I saw this article. I was intrigued by it. And it said this voice is almost like a dragon. It's fiery and it comes out of everywhere. But all it really wants is just to be an ally to
Yeah.
you instead
Yeah.
of it's
To be
you against
acknowledged.
you.
To be
It
acknowledged. Yeah.
wants to just it wants to be acknowledged and be part
Mhm.
of the plan. Like it's not trying to hurt us. It's just that's what it's used to.
That's
So
its only
I'm going to go
job.
in. Its only job is to
Only
go and
job.
protect, to make sure that
Mhm.
the air and the tires are all filled. But that's a jump. But the idea is that
Right.
little things, right? Do you have your keys? Where are your glasses? Where's your phone? It's checked. Sometimes you can leave the phone at home. It's okay. Nobody's gonna call if I
Right.
run out to the store for 5 minutes. The
It
phone can
can
stay
wait.
there.
Yeah.
It can wait. But yeah, I was letting that voice really
Mhm.
drive the bus of my life. And I decided that was not going to happen anymore. I needed to take charge, but in a loving way. We don't
Yeah.
want to take charge and suddenly become like, I don't want to say full of ourselves, but become so aggressive the way the ego can be, but really just nurture it, allow it to be
Yeah.
present with
Accept
you
more
and allow it
acceptance.
acceptance and allow it to just be part of you. It's a part of you.
Right.
It doesn't have to be you, but it can be a
Right.
part of you, just like everything else, right? You have this compassionate side, great and loving towards this, then why can't we be compassionate and loving towards that side of us as
Right.
well?
And I'm glad that you brought up, like, right in the beginning, that you still have it. I think sometimes
Yes,
people have this idea that, or have this wish and hope that when they start to do all this digging and, or they go to therapy or whatever route that they take, that they
yes,
have this idea that things are going to like just disappear and not be a
yeah,
part of their existence anymore. And the truth is, that's not how it works. We don't get to just like completely delete. Like we're
right,
similar to computers, but we're not exactly the same. So we can't completely delete our hard
exactly.
drive and start over. We have to
Right.
figure out ways of accepting and seeing, oh, okay, this is a part of me. This is part of my programming. I can recognize it
Yes,
as programming and I don't have to let it run the whole show. I can just
exactly.
recognize it and accept and be like, oh, look at that. That's a lot of fear. I see that. Okay, I hear you.
Yes,
I see you. I'll give you some space. And now let's get on with our day.
exactly. And I think what happens is um, in the spiritual realm of things,
Mhm.
there's a term called ego death, right? Where we're going through this speech spiritual awakening and the ego essentially fades away. It
Mhm.
never fades away. The whole idea is to start recognizing during that awakening that like you're letting your ego drive the bus of your
Right.
life. And there's this whole other side which is truly meant for you over here,
Uh-huh.
but you can't have this if you're listening to this guy. Can you just incorporate this side
Mhm.
into your experience and still let, your higher self, the creator, God lead you? Be a part of that experience and
Intuitive.
don't
Yeah.
let the intuitive side, right?
Mhm.
Just incorporate that into the experience instead of saying, here you go, and let's move this way. It's a much more beautiful way when we start to incorporate that
Mhm.
part of ourselves because that's all it really wants to be. It doesn't want to be shunned or feel this pressure anymore. It just wants to be included. That's all it is.
Like
It
all
just
of
wants to
us.
be
Right.
included, like all of us.
All of us.
Can you just
Right.
you invite everybody else to the table just because I held on to these experiences from like your teenage years. I'm not allowed to come to the birthday party. And if you think about it that way, would you actually do that in real life? Would you just
Right.
exclude somebody from the birthday party because they're not going to wear the same clothes as everybody else? No, you would
Right.
always include them, right?
Right.
We're
Right.
open and just
It's a good
we're
way of
open and
looking at it.
allowing them. Yeah, like it's if you look at it from a child's perspective, right?
Mhm.
And as a parent, you would always want to include your classmates, always invite every classmate to the
Mhm.
party. And then it's their choice to come to the party or not. And look at it that way. It's like we have all these great parts of us, and then we have the parts that we really don't like, so you're not going to get invited. No, we're going to include them. And if he chooses not to come, that's fine, but
Right.
we're going to include all parts of ourselves to the party.
Because it creates this sort of wonderful and this dynamic of like,
Exactly.
just because you're here doesn't mean that you're running the show. And it's also,
Exactly.
it's a way of just loving and accepting as opposed to like constantly creating this friction and this resistance
Exactly.
towards the things that you really don't like about yourself. And I think that's probably
Right.
one of the biggest shifts in mindset is like,
Mhm.
nothing goes
Yeah.
away, and that's okay. You can accept these parts of yourself that are no longer
Right.
serving you, but that are still along for the ride.
Exactly. And I just saw a movie that was so cute. It's a Disney, it's either a Disney or a Pixar movie. I think it's called In and Out with
Oh, sure.
Amy
Oh,
Poehler
sure.
does the
Oh,
voice.
sure. Yeah.
Super cute. And
Yeah.
it's joy and sadness, right? And
Yeah.
they're like two parts of the party. It's literally the same thing.
And it's part
And
of usually the part of the same experience, just at different ends.
it's a different perspective, right?
Right.
So yes, we want to experience all the joy in the world, but in order to really feel alive, we also have to experience sometimes
Mhm.
things that don't go our way because that's the balance and the perspective of life. But we can't just stop
Have one without
those
the other.
experiences from exactly just included in the party. And at least for me, that's exactly what happened. I had to recognize that I had this voice that was very condescending and judgmental of me. It's like
Mhm.
you woke up on the wrong, you woke up and you had French fries at 9 o'clock last night. They were super salty, but they were delicious. You woke up this morning, you gained 2 pounds. And it's literally, oh, you didn't eat
You
the
did it
French fries
again.
last night.
Look at you. You did it
You
again.
did it again. And
Right.
it's, can you just for one day? But
Right.
then the instant you start to create that narrative, that's where you have to say, no, it's okay. It's
Mhm.
okay for me to have the French fries because I can still get back on track and we're still good. Let's
Mhm.
go. And
Which is
literally, it's
exactly what
like,
you would tell your girlfriend. It's exactly what you would tell anybody
exactly. And that's what I tell my coaching clients. Like, how would you talk to a friend in that situation? And it's literally that. They'd be like, don't worry about it. It's not a
else.
big deal. Just get back on track. We're programmed to do that for other people. But
Mhm.
when can we start doing that for ourselves?
Mhm.
We need to start doing the same
Mhm.
things that we do for other people, same gratitude, the same love, same
Mhm.
compassion and nurturing that we give to our family members and our children we should be doing for ourselves every
Mhm.
single day, even if
Mhm.
it's an hour a day, if it's waking up and meditating, journaling, taking a walk, exercising,
Mhm.
whatever it is, just incorporate that into your day, and it can change. It
It
absolutely
does. It
100% can
absolutely
change your
changes
life.
things. And I would
Yeah.
say that a lot of people need coaching with that, because as I was talking to another woman about all of this, and it's like, we know all the things. We know all the things we're supposed to do. We know
Yes.
how we're supposed to eat well and exercise and blah, blah, blah. But it's these underlying self-sabotage, self-talk
Yes.
that prevents us
Yes.
from being able to move forward and actually do the things that
Right.
we know will serve us. And so that
Yes.
is where I find that coaching is just so effective. It's
Yes.
just so effective. And I feel like collapses the time it takes for those epiphanies to happen.
Yes. And the way I coach is I allow my clients to hear themselves, listen to the stories that you're telling yourself. Like the first week in, that's their first piece of homework. I want you to start listening to the stories you're telling yourself and journal them out,
Mhm.
because sometimes we don't even recognize
Oh,
that we're telling ourselves these stories.
yeah.
And these stories are on repeat, almost like they're playing in the
Mhm.
background, to the fault where it's like you'll have a hiccup and keep going, don't even recognize, like you walk outside, you trip over a rock, you rip your pantyhose or your nylons or whatever, your tights.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, I'm so stupid. And you keep going.
Uh-huh.
It's in that
Right.
moment
That.
that it's a knee jerk, right? If we don't
Mhm.
even recognize that we're doing it.
Yeah.
That's what I teach my clients the first week out, because I want you to recognize the stories that you're telling yourself. Because if we're doing it in one area, it's more than likely we're doing it in all areas. If we bounce a check, for example, oh my God, I'm so stupid. I was supposed to transfer the money over. Or if you just go out to the store and you forget to buy the
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 one thing you
lettuce
went
for
for,
the hamburgers,
the one
the
thing
one
you
thing you went for,
actually went
God,
for.
oh my God, I'm
Yeah.
so stupid. So we have to recognize that even if we think it's in one area,
It's
if
everywhere.
it's in one area, it's in all areas. And it's really
Mhm.
just recognizing that A, the story's there, and
Mhm.
B, can we accept that the story's there without judgment, acknowledge it, take responsibility for it, forgive
Don't
ourselves,
beat
like
yourself up.
forgive,
Just
don't be
acknowledge it.
yourself, acknowledge. And this is it's literally just the practice, right? We have to accept and acknowledge that we have a story.
Mhm.
B, take responsibility that maybe in the background it was creating and we were doing it subconsciously. B, forgive ourselves. G, for number four, give gratitude for it. Give
Right.
gratitude for the fact that it's the creator,
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
higher self. God is really just directing us to say, hey, you know what? Like, I know that you want this six-figure job, but right now you don't think you're worthy enough. And here's all the stories. And they
Yeah.
start showing you the stories.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable, but this is the practice. Can you go back to the story and say, you know what, creator, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for showing me that I used to
Mhm.
believe that I was not worthy of having a six-figure job. And these are all the habits that I have related to that. I don't
Mhm.
believe this anymore. And today I'm making the change. And then that's the practice. But we have to give gratitude for our
For
higher
having the
self, our
opportunity to
creator,
even be able to recognize that.
to say, to
Yeah.
tap you on the shoulder and be like,
Yeah.
I know you really want that six-figure salary, but just look at the way you're handling your money. Look at the way you're carrying yourself. Is this really how you want to live your life? And then
Yeah.
it's in that opportunity that you have the opportunity to change the story, but
Mhm.
the story only changes when we start to embody that new version of us. And that means that not only are we changing the story, but we're changing our habits, our behaviors, and our
Mhm.
beliefs. And it's a four-step. All four need to be on board before
Right.
any change starts to happen out here, because
Mhm.
you could tell yourself a new story that's changing the belief, and that's great. But if
It
you're
has
still
to have the
showing
other
up,
components. Yeah.
that's the embodiment, and that's how you change your reality, is an embodied practice. And that's what I
Mhm.
coach my
Mhm.
clients on.
And
Yeah.
because it encompasses grounding and breath and meditation and reflection. And
Yes.
it's
Mhm.
not just, everybody loves a great mantra, right? We have them
Yes.
written up,
Yes.
they're on canvases, they're on plaques, and they're
Right.
great. And there needs to be a real, like, an action and an embodiment behind that for those types of things to
Exactly.
actually create transformation.
100%.
Yeah.
You can tell yourself, and we can reprogram our subconscious minds with positive self-talk, with mantras, with affirmations, with intention setting. But the really big part of it, I would say probably like 80% is how can you start to, I'm over here saying my affirmations, my
In your head, in
mantras
your head.
in my head, and I'm focused on it, but then you drop it and you go back to doing what you were doing. No, how would this person behave? If you are really this person that has a six-figure salary,
How would you be?
how would they behave? How would you be? How would you be in this moment? And I had a moment like that last year. It's been a year almost. I was big into using social media for everything. Like I was on TikTok, I was on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, you name it. But I found that I was constantly doom scrolling. That's the only way to describe it. That was my thing. If I needed to relax or calm down, I'd go onto Instagram and I'd scroll. And before you know it, I would
You're
be
like, oh my
on
gosh.
there. An hour's gone by. I need to be working. And I sat down and I was like, okay, I'm running a successful business and this is what I'm doing. And then I realized in that moment, I'm like, if I was running a successful business, would I be on these social media platforms scrolling like this? I was like, no. I like, so then how do we make this change? And in that moment, I was like, all right, I need Instagram because that's what I use for my primary source of my business. I said, I think I need to delete the social media apps.
Yeah.
I did. I actually went and I downloaded everything. I requested all the information from, at that point, it was just Facebook and my personal Instagram page. The other ones I just stopped using.
Yeah.
And they actually emailed me everything. They emailed, at that point, I was on from 2008. So probably
A lot.
like 14 years of
Wow.
information. And they sent me all my pictures. They sent me posts, my stories, all of it.
Wow. I didn't even know you
Zip
could do that.
file, and I have it.
Wow.
Yeah. When you go to remove yourself, it asks if you want them to send you a copy or of it. And I was like, yes, please.
Yeah.
And I have it saved to my computer, but I thought it was going to be hard for me not to be on there, but it was honestly the greatest thing for me and my business because it allowed me to now focus on my business. I didn't have that.
You weren't distracted. Yeah.
I wasn't distracted anymore. If I was feeling distracted or overwhelmed, instead of doing that, it's okay. I can go for a walk. I can go meditate. I can book. I can put on some like something else. I don't need to go scrolling to see what everybody else is doing.
And
That's
just
what
kind of avoiding filling your cup.
avoiding. Yeah. And it was in a way I was sabotaging myself. I was taking my mind off my business and started more focusing on what everybody else was doing, like whatever it was. And there was groups that I was in, and they're great, but I was not in the mindset at that time to be looking at it from that perspective because I was going there specifically just to clear my head. I needed to get away from this feeling of overwhelm. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm going to just go over here for 5 minutes and clear my head, and then it would be an hour later.
Never 5 minutes. Half the time I go on search, and you have that For You page.
Yes.
And I'm down a rabbit hole before I'm even like, wait, what was I coming on here to type in? Nobody's immune to it. It's designed.
Exactly.
It's designed to do what it's supposed to do.
Well, because
it does it really well.
You're exactly right. So even there's times when I'm like getting ready for bed and I'll go onto Instagram and I'll start going through the reels. And before it's like I'm watching reels of dogs and dogs are like having conversations with other dogs. And I'm there for 30 minutes. I was like
what did I do?
What did I do?
But circling back to the way of being, I think that's a really important point because what is this idea of if I was already where I wanted to be, how would I be? How would I be acting? How would I be showing up? And that overflows and translates into all parts of your life. So it's almost like it's not the same thing as fake it till you make it. That's not what it is. But it's like showing up and standing in the place of I already have the six figure, already have the great relationship. I already am taking care of my body. Like, how would I be? How would I show up? And going from there, like taking your step and your place in the world from there.
And it's scary, right?
Yeah.
Because we've never been that person before, right? And that's the scary part. Like for me, I'm like, gosh, if I delete my Facebook page that I've been on for 14 years, how am I going to get in touch with these people?
Yeah.
How am I going to talk to these people? And I was like, these people are my friends. Like I have their phone numbers.
Yeah.
I see them on Instagram.
That's right.
I'm
Everything
still
for us. I
good.
know. Yeah.
Everything like, so we're just taking our focus off of it because we need to focus on our business, which is this Instagram page. And this is where we're building our business. And this is where we need to focus. And it was literally that moment. I'm like, okay, it's scary. This is coming from someone who was petrified to delete that page, but that was exactly the step that I needed to take.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the universe knew it. It's like, you keep saying you're the
Mhm.
six-figure salary earner, you're this breadwinner over here, and you're telling us this, but then you're not, your actions don't match that.
Yep. It's constantly
Eh,
staying in alignment and
Yeah,
reevaluating.
exactly. And
Yeah.
sometimes the steps that we need to take to grow our business or to strengthen our relationships, to strengthen our self-worth, is doing the scary thing.
It's
That
always
was
doing the scary thing.
It's doing the scary thing. And for me, I knew it was scary, but I also knew that it was the right thing to do. I didn't need to be on social media just scroll. And that was the thing. It was like I would leave Facebook and go to TikTok or Snapchat or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and it wasn't who I was. And I had to have that conversation with myself, because sometimes we can have that conversation with our friends and they may not take our advice. It's not until you are aware and recognize that
Mhm.
you're doing it, that's when the change happens. And it's almost like a smoker, right? They want to quit so badly that they don't do it until they get to the point where they're like, you know what? Cold turkey, I'm not doing this anymore. And
That's
that's it. And then all of a
how it
sudden it's
happened.
like,
Yeah.
that's how it happens. And
Mhm.
that's what happened for me, because now I decided, I've been saying these affirmations for however long. Today's the day that I'm actually going to show up as the person that I said I am.
Right.
I run a business now, and I have to be that person that runs a business.
Yeah.
And I can't be distracted. If I'm going to let the phone or the computer distract me, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go for a walk instead. And
Right.
that's what I do. I take myself away from the phone.
Yeah.
If I need to, I go
And they're all
journal.
choices. It's like
They're all
you
choices.
get to show up the
Exactly.
way that you really want to be. And like,
Yes,
what an
exactly.
awesome opportunity. It's
Yeah.
it's super empowering. It can be scary. It oftentimes is because it's different. And of
Yes,
course, everybody's afraid of failing, and everybody oftentimes would just rather keep doing what they're doing because it feels safer because they already know the outcome. So you've been living this outcome, you
exactly.
already know what it is.
And that's it. And
Yeah.
it's aligning with that highest version of us, right? If we
Mhm.
are that highest version of us, if we're connected with us, we're
Mhm.
connected to that creator within, and we're connected to source and the universe and God, how would we be acting? Would we be acting like we're behaving now, or would another version of us have to
Have to
replace
show up
that
or get to
to
show
show
up.
up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's giving that part of us permission to show up, which means that sometimes we need to step back
Mhm.
from what's familiar and
Yes.
just step in. And then you realize, at least for me, and a year later,
You're like, what
it's
was I
been
even
the,
afraid of?
yeah, it's what was I afraid of? I still know I think part of me was like, I'm not going to get to know anybody. I'm going to miss out. There's the FOMO. I'm like,
Mhm.
but I'm not missing out.
Yeah.
I think I'm more connected now than I was a year ago, which
Oh,
is the
without a
greatest
doubt.
thing ever. And not just to myself, but like I have deeper connections with friends and
Yes.
family. And I'm
I
more
would say that's the biggest thing that I've noticed from doing all this work is that
yes.
my relationships, I might not have as many as I used to, but the ones that
Mhm.
I have are so raw and authentic and real and connect.
Exactly.
And so the quality
Yeah,
is so much richer
exactly.
when you do the work because you can just
Yeah.
share and relate on such a deeper level. And really, I
And
think that's what we're all looking for. That's what
exactly.
we're
And
looking
it's also this beautiful connection with ourselves that we've probably never fully had before. And it's, I think what's so amazing about it is that you're always being divinely guided.
for.
Even though we may not see it, the messages may seem a little
Until you really
unsettled
attune to them, until you really, yeah.
until you start to really listen to what the stories are saying. And that's when, once you start quieting the noise down and you're really becoming more centered, can you hear the story?
Mhm.
And B, this is the hard part, is can you trust it? And that's where our little friend, the ego, comes in. Remember when this happened,
Uh-huh.
I have to trust that over here, this feels pretty good.
Yeah.
And I know that it feels good that I'm in alignment. with myself, and I have to trust the feeling that this is going to be good, and that therefore the outcome's going to be good. We
Mm-hmm.
can't control the outcome. Over here tries to control the outcome. Over here is like we have to trust that the outcome is exactly what we're asking for, and we
Exactly.
just have to trust it.
Exactly.
And that's part of the practice, but that's also part of the embodiment. The more that we start trusting over here and getting in alignment and getting that
Yes.
raw and that juiciness over here, and just incorporating that voice and just including it,
Yep.
right? Instead of discarding and be like, we don't listen to you
Yep.
and we shove you away. You come
Letting
over here.
go, letting go and holding a little more loosely the outcome and just being more
Yes.
present in the process.
Yes, exactly. There's a great parable, and I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's about a red string and a monkey that was trying to catch a peanut.
Mhm.
And every time he went to catch the peanut, the red string tightened around his wrist, so he would drop the peanut. And he couldn't figure out why. And he every time he went to go get it, the string would tighten. But it wasn't until he actually loosened his grip that he was able to pick up the peanut and slide his hand out, because he went in with force. When we loosen our
Right.
grip, like, it comes into our experience.
That's
Why
right.
is that? Because the universe is designed to flow. We are part of the universe. We are designed to flow. Whenever we're swimming upstream, you're always going to hit resistance. That's a fact. There's the boulder, there's the way the river's flowing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. We're always going to hit
Resistance. Yep.
we're going to hit resistance. We're never going to be able to flow. And our energy is designed to flow. Our experiences are designed to flow. Whenever we're hitting resistance, what is it within us that is resisting, whether it's
Yep.
something that's meant for us? The only thing that's blocking everything that's meant for us is the story over here. And pick a branch or a limb
Right.
from
There's
it
a
that
lot
is
to
saying,
choose from.
I've had a bad experience with this. This is not going to work. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel I'm good enough. I'm not worthy enough. Like, I always get dumped in relationships. That's another one that plays in the background, and we don't even recognize it. I'm always the one getting dumped, and that's hard to explain. That it's just a story, right? Maybe you were dumped when you had your first relationship, but you maybe 20 years later, right? Imagine you're 15 and you and your first boyfriend broke up, and you're 35 and you try to navigate the dating world. I always get dumped. So what happens is we have this narrative running in the background. And if you were dating somebody at 15 and your first boyfriend dumped you, and then you never really allowed yourself to feel all those emotions, you get into another relationship, and that person subsequently lets you go. If you start to develop, so it starts out as this little thing over here, and
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
suddenly this little thing turns into this
Like a
huge
snowball. Yeah.
snowball effect sitting on our heart space, that okay, I really want to start dating somebody, but I'm so afraid of I'm going to get dumped again. If they go in with that narrative that I always get dumped, and even though they're not conscious of it and it's running in the background, that's
Mhm.
something that can actually sabotage the relationship.
Yep.
And it may not be right away. You could be dating someone 6 months or 6 years, and suddenly,
That's
like,
right.
I knew this was going to
A
happen.
self-fulfilling
It
prophecy.
was it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? But we have the power to change it, and we have the power to really step into that greatest version of ourselves
Mhm.
if we can trust what our heart is telling us, if we can trust that narrative and let go of everything that we're seeing, and really just start to focus on our energy. And that's the biggest caveat. When we're starting to get triggered and we're starting to learn about ourselves and move through this journey into conscious or deliberate creation, right? Have that
Mhm.
power, we have that ability, and we all do. But what happens is our stories start to come up when we start affirming a new story. So the only way to describe it is you make a list out. I am so grateful that I have a wonderful, loving relationship. I'm so grateful for my new house, 5 bedrooms, and all this, everything else, all the bells and whistles, right? Or whatever the affirmation is.
Right.
Like, when you start to affirm a new story for yourself, right? And you're being deliberate in your intention.
Honest. Yes.
Yes. So what happens is when we're getting there and we're asking the creator for something very specific, it's going to start to show us the stories. It's like, I have your soulmate right here at the
Mhm.
top of the mountain, But right now, you're down here. You're believing that you're not worthy. You believe that you get dumped all the time. So it's no, I really am ready for my soulmate.
You're like, but
Okay,
you're
well,
not.
it's like we're gonna slowly get you there.
Hmm.
And there'll be days where you're right at the top. It's like, woohoo,
Yeah.
I'm there. I feel great. But then it's just a sign. I can show you how great it is, but
Hmm.
I still need you to work on
Yep.
these underlying beliefs
Right.
because 90% of our life is run by our subconscious mind.
That's
And
right.
if you want the top of the tower or the
Hmm.
prize, the cherry on top of the cake, you need to do clean out down here. You have to clean
Right.
out the basement. We don't start the fireplace.
That's right.
We start,
That's right. There's a
we
lot
start
of
the
cleaning
basement.
out that needs to happen. And it's
Yeah, it
wonderful
just
because it's like cathartic. You get to clear it out
you get to clear it
and
out and you get to write the story of
yeah,
what you were supposed to experience. And
yeah.
it's interesting. It's Mother's Day, so I saw my mom today and I was telling her we have a choice, right? The creator has our life planned out for us, and then we have our own plan. I
Hmm.
was like, so we can go down the path of our own plan,
Hmm.
or we can go down the path of what's meant for us. But
And trust
that
it.
requires us to trust,
Yep.
you know, and
You
clean
gotta
up here,
need to build that
clean up
muscle.
this,
Yeah.
and then trust what the creator has for us. But most of the time, it's, oh, well, this is familiar. You graduate college, you get the job, you buy the
Right.
car, you buy the
Right.
house, you do this, right? And if you can graduate college and become an entrepreneur, there is
Mhm.
that path for you. And that's a
There's lots of
choice.
paths. Yeah.
There's lots of different paths, but can we trust the path
Mhm.
that is meant for us? And that's why we do this work, because the more that we do this work here and start cleaning out, the more we can actually start trusting what's meant for us over here. But we have to let go of this in order to trust this. And that's the work that I coach on. And that's why I use meditation as the technique and the vehicle to get you where you
Mhm.
want to go, because meditation allows you to quiet your mind down. When you quiet your mind, you're not listening to all the stories that are
Mhm. Right.
right here, sitting right at the forefront. We can actually clear away those stories and really drop into that heart space. And
Mhm.
that's where we get that connection. We get the connection to the heart. And that's when we connect to source. And then we can hear the message like, maybe you're meant to be an entrepreneur. Maybe graduating from college was just part of the plan. Maybe now you're meant to be an entrepreneur. Maybe you're meant to run your own business and
Yeah.
whatever that is. And instead of taking the typical path, which
Mhm.
is going to college, getting a job, maybe getting a master's degree, getting a doctorate, whatever, maybe your plan is to start a business serving the community that can create jobs for other people. That's an opportunity too.
Yeah.
We have to
It's worth
trust.
it. Yeah, I was gonna say it's worth exploring
It's worth exploring.
and really finding the way through, which is, I think, what so many people
Exactly.
here are looking for, a little light on the path of how to get
Yes.
from A to B. Yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to join me today. There are so many wonderful modalities that you use in your practice, and I'm excited for women to see that there's lots of different ways of getting after this. And
Yes.
I think your story really will resonate and land with a lot of women. So I'm
Thank
excited for them
you.
to reach out and get on their path and journey and know that
Yes.
it's going to be a little scary and that's just part of it, but that's the adventure.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see all the different lives that get changed and touched through this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I would love to help any of your viewers, any of the people watching right now.
yeah.
If you have any questions, you can visit my website at
Mhm.
www.suecarabello.com. You can
Um,
follow me there, or you can follow me on Instagram as well.
Yeah, I love it. I'm sure that's going to land with a lot of people. So I will be in touch and I'll see you soon.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks.